Hey everyone. I'm all about those virtual tours, those amazing 3D spaces we can create with our Matterport Pro3 cameras. But have you ever thought about what else this camera can do?
I think that's a question a lot of folks in the We Get Around network are asking.
Definitely. And that's why today we're going deep on BIM and CAD.
Ah, yes, BIM and CAD.
Two acronyms that might sound a little intimidating at first, but trust me, they're the keys to unlocking a whole new world of opportunities, especially in that architecture, engineering, and construction world.
That AEC space is huge, and it's ripe for Matterport service providers to make a real impact.
Exactly. And speaking of impact, Matterport just released this blog post called BIM versus CAD, When to Use Them for Maximum Effect.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's like they knew we were doing this deep dive. It's spooky. So before we even get to the blog, let's break it down on plain English.
Okay, let's do it.
What are BIM and CAD in a nutshell?
Well, think of CAD like a super detailed drawing. You know, the kind you'd need for like a really specific part with all the precise measurements and whatnot.
Okay, so CAD is all about precision.
Exactly. Now, BIM, on the other hand, is the big picture. It's like that digital twin of a building packed with information about everything.
Everything. Like what kind of information are we talking
I mean, everything. Materials, systems, how the building might change over time. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, so CAD is the close-up, BIM is the Y shop.
Yeah, you got it. They both have their place, and they often work together.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. But how does this translate into actual business for us as Matterport service providers?
Think about the clients you could attract: architects, engineers, construction firms. They live and breathe BIM and CAD.
Right. They need that data to do their jobs effectively.
Exactly. And your Pro3 camera. It's the key to giving them incredibly accurate spatial data that they can plug right into their projects.
So we're not just selling pretty 3D tours anymore. We're talking about serious data that can help them design, build, and manage buildings.
Precisely. And that data can often be more valuable than the tour itself. It's about solving problems, saving them time and money, and helping them make better decisions throughout the entire life cycle of a building.
Okay, this is making my brain buzz with possibilities. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's dig into that Matterport blog post
Yeah.
and break it down piece by piece. What's the first thing they highlight?
Well, the post starts by diving into the key differences between BIM and CAD, just like we were talking about.
Okay, so back to the basics.
Right. But they use this analogy that I think really drives home the point.
Ooh, I love a good analogy. Hit me with it.
Imagine BIM as a comprehensive recipe for a complex dish. It lists every ingredient, every step, even how the final dish should look and taste.
Okay, I'm following.
Now, CAD, on the other hand, is like a precise blueprint for a single piece of equipment in the kitchen, maybe like a high-tech oven or a specialized blender.
Okay, so BIM is the recipe, CAD is the blueprint.
Yeah, you need both for a successful outcome, but they serve different purposes.
Gotcha. So the recipe gives you the overall plan, the big picture, and the blueprint gives you the precise details for a specific component.
You got it. Now imagine applying that to a construction project. The BIM model is like that master recipe containing all the information about the building, while CAD drawings provide the detailed instructions for specific elements like the structural steel beams or the intricate facade details.
Okay, now that's making sense. So when would we, as Matterport service providers, use one over the other?
Well, that's the next thing the blog post addresses. It breaks down when to use BIM and when to use CAD, which can help you determine what services to offer your clients.
Okay, let's start with BIM. When is that the go-to solution?
BIM really shines when you're dealing with complex projects that require a high level of collaboration analysis and data integration. Think about designing a hospital with all the intricate systems and stakeholders involved.
Right, a hospital is a pretty complex building. I can see how having that comprehensive digital twin would be crucial in a situation like that.
Exactly. BIM allows architects, engineers, and contractors to work together, seamlessly minimizing errors, reducing rework, and ensuring everything fits together perfectly.
Sounds like a dream come true for anyone who's ever dealt with a construction nightmare. So BIM is all about collaboration and efficiency.
It really is. And it allows for a deeper level of analysis. You can simulate different design options, analyze energy efficiency, even check for accessibility compliance, all within that BIM model.
Wow, that's powerful. What about CAD? When is that the preferred tool?
CAD is the master of precision. It excels when you need highly detailed drawings for specific components or layouts. For example, if you're fabricating a custom staircase, CAD would be your best friend.
Okay, so CAD is all about those intricate details and technical specifications.
You got it. It's also often used in manufacturing processes where those precise measurements are essential for creating parts that fit together perfectly.
Gotcha. So we've got BIM for the big picture collaborative projects, and CAD for those detailed drawings and precision work.
Exactly. And both are incredibly valuable in the AEC world.
But where does Matterport fit into all of this?
That's where things get really exciting for us as Matterport service providers. Remember all that spatial data our Pro3 cameras capture? Well, we can actually use it to generate both BIM and CAD files.
Wait, so we can create these complex files without needing to become architects or engineers ourselves?
You got it. The Matterport platform takes our point cloud data and transforms it into those industry standard file formats that AEC professionals use every day.
So we scan a building with our Pro3, and then Matterport does the heavy lifting, converting that data into BIM and CAD files. It's like magic.
It's pretty close. And it opens up a world of possibilities for us. We can offer these valuable services to a whole new client base, expanding our businesses beyond just residential real estate.
My mind is officially blown. But before we get too carried away with all these new possibilities, let's take a closer look at what Matterport actually delivers. What kinds of BIM and CAD files can we expect?
Well, the blog post goes into some detail about that, which is super helpful. They even break down the different file formats, which can seem a little intimidating at first.
File formats like secret codes, only architects and engineers understand.
They might seem that way. But honestly, once you get the hang of it, it's not that complicated. The main thing is to understand which formats are used for what purpose.
Okay, so let's demystify these file formats, starting with BIM. What are the key types that Matterport can deliver?
Well, the big one is .rvt, which is the native file format for Autodesk Revit.
Autodesk Revit.
Yeah, it's a leading BIM software platform. If your client is using Revit, this is the file they need to seamlessly integrate the Matterport data into their project.
Okay, so DAR-VT is like the golden ticket to the Revit world.
Exactly. It saves them a ton of time and effort because they don't have to manually create the model from scratch. They can just plug in the Matterport data and get to work.
That sounds amazing. What other BIM file types are there?
Matterport also delivers .dwg files, which are used for things like floor plans and reflected ceiling plans.
.dwg files. Are those specific to BIM?
They're kind of a bridge between BIM and CAD, as they can be used in both types of software.
Interesting. So even though they're part of the BIM package, they have some crossover with CAD.
Exactly. And then to ensure maximum compatibility, Matterport also includes an .ifc file.
IFC. What's that stand for?
It stands for Industry Foundation Classes, and it's like a universal translator for BIM data.
So no matter what software the client is using, they can open and work with that .ifc file.
Precisely. It's a way to ensure that everyone can access and share the information regardless of their preferred software platform.
This is so smart. Matterport has really thought of everything to make this process as smooth as possible. What else is in that BIM package?
Well, there's one more crucial file type, the .rcs file, which contains the raw point cloud data from your scan.
Point cloud data. That's what our Pro3 camera captures, right?
Yeah.
It's like millions of tiny dots that create a 3D map of the space.
You got it. It's the foundation of everything. And by providing the RCS file, Matterport is giving the client the most detailed and flexible way to use the spatial data.
Okay, that makes sense. So regardless of what BIM software they're using, they can always work with that raw point cloud data.
Exactly. It gives them the most options and flexibility.
Okay, I think I'm starting to grasp the BIM side of things. What about CAD? What file formats are included in that package?
Well, the heart of the CAD package is the .dwg file. This is the native format for AutoCAD.
AutoCAD.
It's another widely used software platform in the AEC industry. The DWG file contains the 2D and 3D drawings that are essential for construction fabrication and detailed design work.
So it's kind of like the DAR-VT file for BIM, but for the CAD world.
Exactly.
Got it. What other file types are included in the CAD package?
Well, like the BIM package, it also includes a .dxf file. This is a more generic CAD format that can be opened in various software programs, making it very versatile.
So no matter what CAD software the client is using, they can still access the data.
Precisely. And for easy viewing and sharing, Matterport also includes .pdf files of the floor plans.
PDFs, everyone's favorite. Easy to open, easy to print, no fancy software required.
You got it. They also include the .rcs file, just like the BIM package, giving the client access to that raw point cloud data.
So whether you go for the BIM or CAD package, you're getting that point cloud data as the foundation.
Exactly. And lastly, there's the .ctb file, which contains plot styles. This might sound a bit technical, but it basically ensures that when the client prints those drawings, they look professional and meet industry standards.
Okay, so Matterport has thought of every detail, from the complex file formats to the visual presentation of the printed drawings. It sounds like they've really streamlined this whole process for us.
They definitely have. And here's the best part. Ordering these files is incredibly simple.
Don't tell me it's as easy as ordering a pizza online.
Almost. It all happens within your Matterport cloud account. You just go to the space you scanned, and there's an option to order add-ons, including BIM and CAD files.
No way. So it's literally a few clicks and we're done.
Yep, that's all it takes. You choose the desired level of detail for the files, which impacts the pricing and turnaround time, and then you're good to go.
Okay, so more detail equals a bit more cost and a little longer wait. But it sounds like it's still a super straightforward process.
It really is. Matterport has made it incredibly user-friendly, even for those of us who aren't CAD or BIM wizards.
This is all starting to sound less intimidating and more like a golden opportunity. But before we get too excited about the potential profits, let's take a closer look at how these BIM and CAD files are actually being used in the real world and explore some inspiring case studies.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to dive deeper.
Let's do it.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about all those different file types Matterport can generate. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. We capture reality with our Pro3s, and then poof, we have these industry standard files ready to go.
It's like we have a secret weapon.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what are some real-world examples of how these files are actually being used? Like, give me a concrete example.
Sure. Let's say you're scanning a historic building that's being renovated. The architect could use the Matterport-generated BIM model to analyze the existing structure, identify potential challenges, and even simulate different design options before a single hammer is swung.
So it's like a virtual playground for architects. They can play around with different ideas and see how they impact the building in a digital environment.
Exactly. And it's not just about aesthetics. They can analyze things like structural integrity, energy efficiency, and even accessibility compliance, all within the BIM model.
Okay, I can see how that would be invaluable for an architect.
Hmm.
What about engineers? How are they using these Matterport files?
Well, think about the complexity of building systems. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC engineers can use the Matterport-generated CAD drawings to precisely plan the routing of pipes, ducts, and wiring, ensuring everything fits within the existing structure.
So no more surprises when they start ripping open walls and find out something doesn't line up.
Exactly. It reduces errors, streamlines the construction process, and saves everyone a lot of headaches and money down the line.
Okay, I'm getting the sense that these BIM and CAD files are like superpowers for AEC professionals. They can see things they wouldn't otherwise be able to see planned with incredible accuracy and ultimately create better buildings.
That's it. And it's not just about new construction. These files are also incredibly useful for managing existing buildings.
Oh, really? How so? Give me an example.
Imagine you're working with a facility manager for a large office complex. They could use the Matterport-generated BIM model to track maintenance schedules, plan renovations, or even create a digital twin that allows them to virtually walk through the building and identify potential issues.
So it's like having X-ray vision for buildings. They can see inside the walls, understand how the systems are connected, and proactively manage the entire space.
You got it. It's all about having that comprehensive digital representation of the building, which is what Matterport allows us to create.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty good picture of the potential applications,
Yeah.
but I'd love to hear some real-world success stories. Does that Matterport blog post mention any specific examples?
It does. They highlight a case study about H. Angdis, a Canadian design and engineering firm.
Oh yeah, you mentioned them earlier. Remind me what their story was all about.
Well, they were working on a project that involved renovating a heritage building, which, as you can imagine, was a pretty complex undertaking. Manually creating a BIM model for the entire building would have taken weeks and cost a fortune.
Yeah, I can only imagine the amount of measuring, drawing, and modeling involved in a project like that.
Exactly. But then they discovered Matterport. They scanned the entire building with a Pro3 camera, ordered the BIM files, and boom, they had a highly accurate digital model in a fraction of the time.
Okay, so that's the time-saving aspect. But what about the cost? Did they actually save money using Matterport?
Oh yeah, big time. The blog post mentions that they saw a 70% reduction in BIM modeling costs by using Matterport. That's not just a small improvement, that's a game changer.
70%. That's incredible. And what about the quality of the BIM model? Was it as good as what they could have created manually?
The blog post says the model was incredibly accurate and detailed, even capturing those intricate heritage details that would have been a nightmare to model by hand. In fact, the H. Angus team was so impressed with the quality and efficiency of the Matterport process that they've completely embraced it as part of their standard workflow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is not just some marketing fluff. This is a real company seeing real results using Matterport for BIM. It's pretty inspiring.
It is, and it highlights the tangible benefits we can offer our clients. Faster turnaround times, reduced costs, increased accuracy, and the ability to focus on higher value tasks instead of tedious manual modeling.
It's like we're giving them the gift of time.
Yeah.
And with those kinds of results, I'm betting H.H. Angus isn't the only company singing Matterport's praises.
You're right. There are tons of stories of architects, engineers, and construction firms realizing the power of Matterport for BIM and CAD. And the more we as Matterport service providers understand these applications and share these success stories, the more opportunities we can unlock for our businesses.
This is all starting to make sense. But I have to admit, I'm still a little unsure about how to approach potential clients in the AEC industry. It seems so different from the residential real estate market I'm used to.
It is a different world, but that's what makes it so exciting. And don't worry, with a little bit of preparation and the right approach, you can successfully connect with these clients and showcase the value of your services.
Okay, walk me through it. What are the key things I need to consider when targeting AEC clients?
First and foremost, you need to understand their language. We've already talked about BIM and CAD, but there's a whole world of terminology and concepts specific to the AEC industry. The more you can educate yourself, the more confident you'll feel when communicating with these clients.
So it's about doing our homework, learning the lingo, and showing them that we understand their world.
Exactly. And it's not about becoming an architect or engineer overnight. It's about being able to translate the benefits of Matterport into language that resonates with them.
Okay, so speak their language, show them we understand their challenges. What else?
Next, highlight the specific ways Matterport can solve their problems. Don't just focus on the cool factor of 3D tours. Instead, emphasize how your services can save them time and money, improve collaboration, reduce errors, and ultimately enhance the quality of the projects.
So it's about positioning Matterport as a solution to their pain points, not just a fancy new toy.
Exactly. And the best way to do that is through case studies and real-world examples. The H.H. Angus story is a perfect example of how Matterport can make a tangible difference in a complex project.
So gather those success stories, quantify the benefits, and present a compelling case for why Matterport is the answer to their prayers.
You got it. And remember, you're not just selling files. You're selling your expertise, your knowledge of the Matterport platform, and your ability to help them navigate this new world of spatial data.
I'm starting to feel like I have a secret weapon. But I also want to be realistic. Are there any potential challenges or roadblocks I should be aware of when venturing into the AEC market?
Of course. As with any new venture, there will be challenges, but knowing what to expect can help you navigate them successfully. One common challenge is client education. Some AEC professionals might not be familiar with Matterport or fully understand the potential of reality capture for BIM and CAD.
So it's back to that language barrier we talked about. We need to be prepared to explain things in a way that makes sense to them without overwhelming them with technical jargon.
Exactly. Another challenge is managing expectations. It's important to be transparent about the limitations of the technology. Matterport can do amazing things, but it's not a magic bullet that can solve every problem.
Right, so no promising them the moon and the stars. Be upfront about what Matterport can and cannot do.
Exactly. And lastly, there's the learning curve. BIM and CAD are complex fields, and it takes time to develop a deep understanding of the workflows and best practices.
But we don't have to become experts overnight, right?
Yeah. Definitely not. Start by focusing on the services you're most comfortable with and gradually expand your knowledge as you gain experience. There are tons of resources available from Matterport's website to online forums to industry events.
Okay, so educate ourselves, manage expectations, and don't be afraid to ask for help when we need it. It sounds like a solid plan.
It is. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. There's a whole community of Matterport service providers out there who are exploring these new opportunities. Connect with each other, share your experiences, and learn from each other's successes and challenges.
I think this has been an incredibly eye-opening conversation. I'm starting to see BIM and CAD not as intimidating acronyms, but as gateways to a whole new world of possibilities for my Matterport business. I'm feeling excited and energized to take on this challenge.
That's great. And I have a feeling this is just the beginning of our BIM and CAD adventure. There's so much more to explore, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us Matterport service providers.
I feel the same way, and I'm sure our listeners are buzzing with ideas and inspiration after this deep dive. But before we wrap things up, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room, the business side of things. How do we actually market these services, set our prices, and turn this knowledge into profit?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what we'll cover when we come back for part 3.
Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back after a quick break. Okay, so we've talked about what BIM and CAD are, how they're used, and we've even heard a pretty inspiring success story from H.H. Angus. But now let's get down to brass tacks. How do we actually turn this knowledge into cold, hard cash?
Right. That's the goal, isn't it? To take what we've learned and turn it into a profitable service we can offer to those AAC clients.
Exactly. We know those architects, engineers, construction companies are out there, and they're hungry for this kind of data. But how do we actually reach them? It's a whole different world than, our typical residential real estate clients.
You're right. It is different,
Yeah.
but the marketing principles are the same. It's all about understanding your audience and communicating value.
Okay, so break it down for me. What's the first step in marketing BIM and CAD services?
Well, think about your website. It's your digital storefront. Make sure it clearly states that you offer BIM and CAD services and highlight the specific file formats you can deliver.
So no more hiding it in some obscure corner of the website. BIM and CAD front and center.
Exactly. You want potential clients to see it right away and understand that you're more than just a 3D tour provider. You're a spatial data expert who can speak their language and solve their problems.
Got it. Website updated, check. What's next?
Content is king, my friend. Think about creating blog posts, case studies, even video tutorials that demonstrate your expertise and the value of Matterport for BIM and CAD.
Oh, and we could even write a post specifically for the We Get Around network, sharing what we've learned on this deep dive and encouraging other MSPs to explore these opportunities.
Absolutely. And don't forget about the power of visuals. Showcase those stunning 3D models, highlight those precise floor plans, let your work speak for itself.
Show don't tell, I like it. But creating all that content takes time. Are there any quicker wins in terms of marketing these new services?
Well, networking is always a great way to get your name out there. Attend industry events, join online forums, connect with AEC professionals on LinkedIn. The more you engage with the community, the more opportunities will come your way.
Okay, so pound the pavement, shake some hands, spread the word about our Matterport superpowers. But let's be honest, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the bottom line. How do we price these services in a way that's fair to us and attractive to clients?
Pricing is always a bit tricky, but there are a few approaches you can consider. One is to price based on the level of detail required. A simple floor plan would cost less than a fully detailed BIM model with all the bells and whistles.
Makes sense. More detail, more time, more money.
Exactly. Another approach is to price based on the value you're delivering. How much time and money will your services save the client? How will it improve their efficiency or reduce their risk? If your Matterport scan can help them avoid a costly rework that's worth a premium.
Right. It's all about quantifying those benefits and pricing accordingly.
Precisely. Don't be afraid to charge what you're worth. Remember, you're not just selling files, you're selling expertise, peace of mind, and a solution to their problems.
Okay. I'm feeling empowered. But I also want to be prepared for potential challenges. What are some of the roadblocks we might encounter as we venture into this new AEC territory?
Well, one common challenge is client education. Some AEC professionals might not fully understand the power of Matterport for BIM and CAD. You might need to spend some time explaining the technology and showcasing the benefits.
So it's back to that education piece again. We need to be patient, articulate, and passionate about what we do.
You got it. Another challenge is managing expectations. Matterport can do amazing things, but it's not magic. Be upfront about the limitations of the technology and what you can realistically deliver.
Right. No overpromising and underdelivering.
Exactly. And lastly, remember that building a successful BIM and CAD business takes time and effort. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
So stay focused, stay curious, and keep learning.
Exactly. The more you invest in your knowledge and skills, the more successful you'll be.
Well, I think this has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground. We demystified BIM and CAD, explored their potential applications, and even learned how to market and price these services. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty fired up.
Me too. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities that are out there for Matterport service providers. And this is just the beginning. The world of spatial data is constantly evolving, and we're in a great position to ride that wave.
To all of you listening out there, especially our fellow MSPs in the We Get Around network, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to see the potential beyond those beautiful 3D tours. You have the tools, the skills, and the knowledge to tap into this whole new world of AEC opportunities. So go out there, embrace the challenge, and see what you can achieve.
And don't forget to share your successes and challenges with the community. We're all in this together.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of BIM and CAD. We'll see you next time.